Hey, all my logical friends, my name is Forge, and welcome back to a brand new video. Now, in today's video, we are going to take a look at Jig's Redstone Basics. Now, are you new to Redstone, and do you want to learn the basics of Redstone? Well, good news. This is basically the ultimate guide to Redstone Basics. So, if you're new to Redstone, then this video is going to be very useful to you, and as well as to this map. Now, down below in the description, there will be a link to the creators page, so you guys can go ahead and learn a little bit more about him and some of his creations. And unfortunately, there won't be a download because this map is only available on the Minecraft Marketplace. So you'll be able to go ahead and get it over on the Marketplace. So just search up Jig above, or just go ahead and search up Redstone Basics, and you should have this map come up. Now, what we're going to be doing is, we're going to be going through a whole bunch of different rooms that have Redstone Basics. From pressure plates, to levers, to redstone torches. Everything is in this map. Of course, it's going to be for advanced users, so do bear that in mind. But if you guys do enjoy today's video and you want to see some more videos like this in the future, then please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And let's go ahead and begin with the first section, which can be about pressure plates. Now, I've already gone through everything, and by default, there won't be anything on the gold blocks, so do bear that in mind. But this is the pressure plate. There are 4 types. There's the wooden, which can be activated by anything inside of Minecraft, including arrows, items, and the player and mobs. Now, we have also stone pressure plate, which can only be activated by mobs or players, as you guys can see right here. Then we have also the weighted pressure plates, which is the gold and iron. The iron acts as a heavy weighted pressure plate, while the gold one is a light weighted pressure plate. And pretty much they depend on how many items are on top of that pressure plate. So right over here, we have a little bit of a range of power for the pressure plate. So it goes all the way around the pressure plate and the block that's powering, as you guys can see right there. And here's a little bit more of a better explanation, which I replaced with a wooden pressure plate for the sake of the video. So I'm going to go and put that right there. And as you guys can see, all the redstone lamps ended up getting lit up, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go ahead and move on to the next section, which is going to be about the lever. Now, this is the lever. The lever is used to open up doors, pretty much activate any redstone component similar to a button. But how a button works is that it only leaves it on temporarily, while the lever leaves it on forever, as long as you do have it flipped on or off. But we're just going to go ahead and come right through this door. Did not mean to do that. And this is the range of redstone power. So pretty much whenever redstone is activated, it can only go up to a length of 15. So right here, this is the demonstration of it going down to 16. So on the 16th block, this will become deactivated. Well, on this one, if I go ahead and flip this lever, the redstone is going to stay on all the way down to block number 15. And this is at block 16 right here, which means that this will be activated. So whatever is on block 16 will be activated. Now, we also have ourselves all these different power ranges. So we have power range 15 all the way up to power range 0, which is when it's deactivated. So right over here, this is at power range 9. So I'm going to go and activate that. As you guys can see right here, this is redstone power strength of 9. And right over here, this is the range of power for the pressure plate, the lever, and as well as the redstone. So we have ourselves the pressure plate with the redstone. So as long as this is activated, I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a redstone lamp really quickly. And so I can go ahead and show you guys what happens if I were to place a redstone lamp underneath this redstone. So pretty much anything that's underneath this redstone, whenever it's activated, it will be lit up. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this with a wooden pressure plate. So I can go ahead and show you guys this very quickly. So break this, place the pressure plate, go ahead and throw an item, and as you guys can see, that is now activated. So it's very useful if you want to activate things all the way around it. Now, I don't think it will work above it. Let's go and test that. And no, it will not. So whenever you have stuff above it, it will not activate whatsoever. So I'm going to go ahead and break that. And I'm going to go ahead and move over here, which this is the power range for the lever on the side of a block. And this is the power range of a lever whenever it is on top of the block, if that makes any sense. The next section is going to be about repeaters. Now, repeaters, they are very useful in any redstone component. And basically, as I showed you guys before, that this only goes up to range 15. So whenever you get up to the 16th block, you're going to want to place in a repeater. So for example, I grab this repeater and I go ahead and place it right here. It's going to go and continue that power range. And then you'll be able to go have a little bit more of a length. So pretty much it acts like an infinite range source of redstone. So I'm just going to go ahead and come out of here. I'm going to go flip this lever. And as you guys can see, this is going pretty slow. And that's because it is at the dilation of number 3. So there are 3 types of dilations for the repeater. We'll get onto that inside of here. So basically, this is dilation 0. So whenever there is no knobs moving, this is dilation 0. this is the dilation of 1, because we have ourselves 1 knob right there, and then this is the dilation of 3. So basically, the lower the dilation, or the bigger the dilation, the faster or slower it's going to be. So for example, I'm going to do that. That one went faster, this one went a little bit slower, and this one went really slow. And as you guys can see, it just powered up all of these redstone lamps. Then we also results this one right here, which basically redstone can go through any of these blocks. So if I grab myself some normal redstone dust, I'm going to go ahead and grab myself this repeater, go ahead and place it right there, and then I go ahead and do this. As you guys can see, it's not going to go through the block at all. So that is where you're going to need to get yourself this repeater right here, so that way the redstone can power the block, then the block is going to go and power this repeater, and it's going to continue that current all the way through the blocks. And there's a little bit more of a better explanation. So we have results this, and it just goes through all the blocks right there. So we're going to go ahead and move on to this next section, which is about the redstone block. Now, the redstone block acts pretty much like an infinite source of redstone. So if I were to place it next to this redstone, as you guys can see, all this redstone is being activated infinitely. And also, this is the piston. We're going to be getting onto pistons here in a second, which is the next part. So, and also, that's the power range for the redstone block right there. It's not a big deal, but it's very useful for redstone components. So I'm going to go ahead and clear my inventory, and we have ourselves pistons. Now, pistons in Minecraft, they're also very useful for redstone contraptions. A lot of people mainly use them for doors and stuff like that. So I do want to let you know that pistons, they act differently over on the Bedrock, which is on your Xbox One, Windows 10, Switch, and mobile devices, and then Java Edition, which is PC Edition. Now, the reason why I say that is because pistons, they do not actually work the same way. They're actually not buggy on this version. That's right, over on Java Edition, pistons rely on bugs, which is why you see a lot of jeb doors, which a jeb door is basically a door that comes out of a wall, and you can't actually see that's there. And so I want to let you guys know that. But here we go, right, with the pistons. So you can go flip the lever, they go up and down, and also they do have a different model than Java as well. But these basically push different blocks in the game, which if I come over here, we have ourselves this block of redstone with the piston. So if I were to grab myself this lever right here, find a lever, I'm going to go and place it right there, flip it down. As you guys can see, it's going to go and move that. But this is a normal piston, so it's not going to bring the block back. While this one is called a sticky piston, which will actually bring the block right back to you, which we have right here. So I'm going to go and flip that. As you guys can see, you can go flip it as much as you want. Now, going back to Java Edition, about how pistons act differently, is that there's something called a T flip-flop. And Java Edition actually has had that for a very long time, yet again, relies on bugs, while on Bedrock, you can't do T flip-flops at all, unless you actually have some type of really good redstone device, which is not really possible over on the Bedrock Edition for like Jeb. Next up, we're going to go ahead and talk about the redstone torch. Now, the redstone torch is actually very crucial for any redstone component, because you can place it on the side of blocks, on top of blocks, and basically you can turn them on or off. So like right here, we have ourselves a pressure plate. I go and press on the pressure plate, and as you guys can see, basically those redstone lamps turned off while these turned on. So as long as you have redstone on top of the block, and then make sure that you have it on going into the block, it will go ahead and deactivate that torch. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and break that redstone. If I were to go ahead and place it right here, as you guys can see, that has stayed off. Now if I were to go ahead and get rid of this redstone, you see, it stays on. So I'm going to go ahead and put that back, and there we go. So I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and this is actually it being on the side of the block. So a little bit of a better explanation of it turning on or off. But I'm going to go ahead and press on this pressure plate, and as you guys can see, it just turned on or off. Then right here, we have ourselves some redstone lamps, and then we also have ourselves the range of redstone power, which this is just demonstrating that with redstone lamps, as you guys can see. So as long as you have a block on top, and then on top of that other block, then it's going to go ahead and be powered, because this torch is basically powering this block right here. So for example, if I were to grab myself a piece of wood, go and put it right here, as you guys can see, it's going to go and power that, because the torch is powering this block. So this block is essentially acting as a redstone block. So if I were to grab myself a piston, like I showed you guys before, here, I'm going to show you guys this. Basically, it's going to activate that piston, and that's pretty much how it works. Now, it won't activate this piston, because this block is not being powered by the block underneath it. And then, as I showed you guys earlier, is that you can place them on the side of blocks, which you can place them on all sides of the block. So top, sides, but not on the bottom, which is actually quite unfortunate. But right over here, we have ourselves the range of power for the redstone torch underneath the block powering it. So as you guys can see, this is pretty much the block that's powering. And then we have ourselves a torch right down here, and that's range of power. And the final thing I want to show you guys about the redstone torch is that you can actually use it as a type of gate, which is called an AND gate. So basically what an AND gate is that if I were to go ahead and get rid of these right here, this is the AND gate. And these pretty much act as a gate that you can only activate through doing both sides. So as you guys can see, we have ourselves redstone torch right here and redstone torch right here. And this is basically for more basic and advanced users. So it's more like a 50-50 there. But if I were to go ahead and place them both here, then we have ourselves the redstone dust right here. If I go ahead and activate this and I activate this, then those are going to turn off and the middle one is going to turn on. So now we're on to the final part of this section, which is going to be the final basics. So this could be everything that you learned in the previous parts of the video. So anything that you learned, go ahead and put it to the test, and I'll go ahead and let you guys try out this puzzle and see how well you actually have done throughout the video. So as you guys can see, we have a lot of different things in here, and basically it's your job to try to figure out how to get this chest to open up. So by default, that piston down there is actually going to be all the way through the ground, and then the chest is going to be not really there. It's going to be buried. So I'm going to go ahead and let you guys take a second and try to figure out the puzzle. Okay, I'm assuming that you guys may have figured out the puzzle by now. So we're just going to go ahead and tell you guys the solution. So the solution is actually quite simple. Right, this is the AND gate I just showed you guys before. Flip down the lever, step on the pressure plate. So that's going to go ahead and activate the piston, and you're going to want to keep on pressing on this pressure plate until it activates this section. So whenever it's in this section right here, as I showed you guys with the repeaters, basically these are going to go right through the block itself, and as you guys can see, it's going to push all those redstone blocks, and now the chest is now in our midst. And then we're going to want to use this redstone block to activate the next section of the map. So we're going to come over here, flip on teleport back to UB, and it says pretty sure you wrecked the final room somehow. So if you want to, you can go ahead and reset it, as you guys can see right here. So everything is now reset, and this is what everything is going to look like by default. It's going to have a pumpkin right there, just to hide where the chest is. So now I'm going to go and teleport back to the beginning, and this is where you're going to want to place in your block of redstone. That's going to go ahead and activate the final two sections. So by default, whenever you do access the map, this section right here will be the only part that's opened up, and then this part right here will be closed off, that'll be closed off, and then that'll be closed off until you do place down the redstone block. But in order to access the basics, you go through the roller coaster ride, and it'll take you all the way up here. Go ahead and press the button right through that wall, then it's going to teleport you up here. Then go ahead and press on here, and then that room, the basics will open up. But what we're going to do now is that we're going to take a look at the free build section, because there's a few more things I wanted to explain in today's video. So in this section, you'll be able to test out different things with redstone, including with slime blocks and pistons. So as you guys can see, we have slime blocks. Now, what I wanted to tell you guys about the slime block is that a slime block can basically push any block in Minecraft on all of its sides. So in order to make use of this, a lot of people use it for piston doors, stuff like that. And as you guys can see, we have obsidian underneath there, because there are actually two blocks that this cannot move. Actually, there's about a few more blocks that I can't move, such as droppers, dispensers. It can't move furnaces, but it can move chests. But another thing it cannot move is obsidian, and as well as glazed terracotta, which glazed terracotta is basically a weird looking block. So if I come inside of here, this is glazed terracotta, and this is normal terracotta. Right, so basically you put a piece of terracotta into a furnace to get yourself that glazed terracotta. I mean, don't ask me where the design comes from, I have no idea. And you can just go and use this to make all sorts of pretty designs, as you guys can see right there. And they are also very complicated to actually figure out. But I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And basically a slime block and a piston, a sticky piston, cannot move these at all. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. And we're going to go ahead and come over here. And we're basically going to look at this. So this is using no blocks. So if I were to go ahead and flip this lever, it's basically going to go ahead and move all that. And then the no blocks are going to get activated, as you guys can see right there. So we also have some signs. Pistons moving redstone blocks that power the next piston, and the chain creates this chain reaction. So that's how that works right there. So chain reaction, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And also very useful for a bunch of redstone contraptions. Then this one right here is yet again with the different redstone lamps. And basically these are slabs. So as long as you place a piece of redstone or you place a repeater on top of the slab, what's going to happen is that it's basically going to go ahead and activate on that slab. So you actually don't have anything underneath the slab, So if I go ahead and come over here, I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a lever very quickly. Actually, we need to go and flip this because that's how you activate it. Just using an arrow, that's going to go and activate the button. And as you guys can see, it goes all the way through there. But if I were to go ahead and get rid of the arrows, I'm going to go ahead and grab myself a lever very quickly. I'm also going to go ahead and show you guys what I was meaning about the different half slabs. So we have ourselves a half slab right here. I go ahead and place the half slab right here, right? And I go ahead and put there. I'm going to go ahead and grab myself some redstone very quickly. And there's one thing I want to point out about this is that while this is a basic part of redstone, it can also be very, very complicated to actually understand. So if I grab myself the torch, I'm going to go ahead and put this right here. Go ahead and go up one more. I'm actually going to need to go up one more so I can actually place the rest on top of it. Because like, it only work if you place the half slab facing right side up. So I'm going to go and place this redstone here. And as you guys can see, as long as you have that there, that's going to work. Now, the same thing can be said about glass, but you cannot place redstone on top of glass. So pretty much you're going to want to use glowstone. And I believe that redstone lamps can work as well. We're going to go and test that theory. And I'm also going to grab myself some glowstone very, very quickly. And I'm also going to grab myself a sea lantern. Now, these blocks will pretty much bring the redstone current all the way through there. But, of course, with the sea lantern, it looks like it didn't work. Glowstone, it will work. So, sea lanterns is a no. Redstone lamps, I have not tested yet, so we're going to test that right now. And no. So, only glowstone will work. So, if you thought that sea lantern would work, or if you thought that redstone lamps would work, the answer is no. They will not work. But slabs and glowstone is a definite yes. And right over here, we have ourselves some more things, including some redstone lamp stuff. So, this is going to say what? This hopper clock works by simply being a tube that goes in a circle. There is an item that moves through each hopper in a sequence. So how this is basically working is that we have ourselves a bunch of items in here, and these are being moved in a sequence. So if I come right over here where this block of redstone is, you see, this is our redstone item. So it can actually use any type of item, but different items will actually work differently. And this is a redstone comparator. And after all my years of displaying Minecraft, I still don't understand this thing. Alright, I really don't. It's really complicated to actually understand. Mostly for just comparing what's inside of a chest or an item. So basically, we have ourselves stuff inside this hopper, right? And if I go ahead and press on this lever, I'm going to show you guys. It's going to go and pick that up, lift it up. And as you guys can see, this is now moving back and forth through all four of the hoppers. And it's basically taking what's inside of the chest or whatever is bringing it out as a redstone pulse. So as you guys can see, we have all this right here. Now these are also known as ticks, and which is actually more like redstone basic stuff, if you know what I mean. So a redstone tick is the same thing as a redstone pulse, same thing as whenever it's taking redstone out. So I'm just going to go ahead and come over here, and I'm going to go ahead and deactivate this for now, because it will start to cause a little bit of lag. And also, as you guys can see, this can be very useful if you want to make, like, let's say a sign that moves all the way around. I think a lot of people can use that in their own redstone contraptions, which a lot of people do use, but redstone clocks, they're not as useful as most other redstone contraptions. Now this right here, guys, this is pretty cool, because thanks to Minecraft Bedrock Edition, Minecraft Java does not have this feature, but over on the Bedrock, you can actually change the pose of an armor stand. So for example, if I were to go ahead and crouch, and I go ahead and use the trigger, which is the lift trigger over on console, or if you're using it over on the Windows 10, it's going to be right click. And if you're on mobile devices, you have to crouch and then go ahead and tap. And I believe that's going to go and change the pose. But I'm going to go ahead and show you guys. As you guys can see, we can change the pose. And if you were to go ahead and put it with redstone, as you guys can see, it's going to cycle through that pose in the normal pose over and over and over again, which is pretty cool. But we're going to go ahead and move all the way down here and explain what the last section is. Because the last section is basically just going to go ahead and show you guys all of the redstone components that can be used inside of Minecraft, such as droppers, dispensers, hoppers, rails. But I'll go ahead and let you guys take a look at that in your own time, because today's video, I don't want it to be too long, because there's a lot of things I did explain in today's video. But this is basically just going to go through further detail of all of the different redstone components. So for example, if I were to come all the way down here, see, it's going to go ahead and explain what redstone ore is, just the basics of redstone. If you guys would like me to make a video on this, then let me know by leaving a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this in the future. That'd be really much appreciated. And of course, I will catch y'all in the next video. and I'll see you guys. Bye.